We installed WordPress with Docker Compose, the second WordPress website with Docker Compose yesterday. And now we will see some maintenance tasks with these two websites that we have installed with Docker Compose. We have a script here for backup. Actually, they are just 2 or 3 commands, but let's create a script because it is easier and it is better. And the script is this one here. And let's have a look at it. So in order to make the backup, we first switch to this directory, var compose WordPress, and then we shut down the project and the containers, Docker Compose down. Then we create an archive of this directory. So tar create archive, and this is the location of the archive file. It is in the home directory, and this -c command, capital C, is change directory. So it is changing to this directory before making the archive, and then this is the directory that will be included in the archive. And afterwards we start up the containers again, Docker Compose up. So all the backup is all we need to do a backup is to make an archive of this directory, because it contains all the data and all the configuration and all the scripts related to these two websites. So if we look again, in this directory we have the configuration file compose.yaml. We have the Docker file for building a customized WordPress image. We have the directory db, which is used by the database directory to, and here there are the data of the MariaDB database, the databases and configurations and all the data. And we have this directory which contains the application files and the configuration file for this website, WordPress 5.user1.fs.al. And also we have this directory that contains the application files and the configuration file for the other WordPress site. So if we make an archive of this directory, then we have everything that we need to restore the project. And also there is this hidden file .env. This is also included in the archive, in the backup. So let's make the archive, let's make the backup. Docker Compose down, make an archive, and then again Docker Compose up to start up the container. So it is very easy, not difficult. Now we should try to, so this is the backup file. We should try to restore this one, but before restoring this backup, we will destroy the project and the websites, WordPress 5 and WordPress 6. First of all, we stop and remove the containers. it is stopping and removing the containers and the network related to this project. And then we just remove this directory. And let me check whether it is working. It does not work because we destroyed this website. Now let's see how to restore it. We have this backup here, and we can extract with tar, extract this archive file. But before running the tar command, the extract command, we switch directory to with this option, we are telling tar to go first to this directory and then extract this archive file, or to extract this archive file in the inside this directory. But I'm not sure if it will be able to find this file after changing the directory. Let's try this command first, and then we will fix the path. So it worked, I think. So it restored this directory. And in this directory, we have everything that is needed to start again the project, to restore the project. So we should just run docker compose appd, and this command is going to use this configuration file and this docker file, and also this .env environment file, which is used to interpolate the variables inside this configuration file. And when the Docker containers are started, they are going to use the data into these directories, which are the data of the applications that we created. So the container started. Let's see whether we have restored it successfully. So the website is restored successfully. So both the backup and the restore are very easy with Docker Compose. Now, when we make the backup, we just make an archive of this directory, and it includes the databases in this directory. But we can also backup the content of the databases separately. So just make a backup of the content of the databases. And this might be useful if we want to restore it to a database of a different version. So if we are running, for example, MariaDB 9, and we want to restore the content to MariaDB 8 or 7, which is the previous version, then the files in this directory might not work, because the files of a newer version usually do not work with an older version. But if we extract the content of the database and we backup the content of the database, then we can restore the content to the other version. So let's make a script that makes the backup of the content of the database. So first we stop Nginx so that the website is not making database connections, does not change the content of the database. So stopping Nginx will stop the requests to the website, and so there will be no modifications in the database. And at the end we start Nginx again, but here we can use the WordPress CLI to export the content of the database. And for WordPress 5 we use this docker compose exec as user www data, execute into this service, execute the command wp WordPress, and then this command, this variable is used here, and we append these arguments: database export to the file db.sql, and similar for the other website. So we export the content of the database. Let's test it. And it says exported to db.sql. But here we see no db.sql. Why? Because the working directory inside the container WordPress 5 is this directory. And so db.sql is inside this directory. So this is a database dump. It contains all the tables and the data of the database, and it is easy to use this content to import it to another to a database of a different version. And here also into the other directory there is this database dump. Now to update the version of WordPress, to update the WordPress websites, we can use this other script, Ctrl Shift and V. So again, we define these two commands: WordPress 5 CLI, WordPress 6 CLI. Docker compose exec inside the container WordPress 5. The command to be executed is WordPress, and then we stop Nginx again. And after making the backup, we start it again. Then we update WordPress 5 and then update WordPress 6. So this is the command WordPress. So WordPress command line interface. Core update is going to update the application files. Core update DB is going to update the structure of the database and maybe any other modifications in the database. Update plugins, update themes, and then delete the cache. Let's try this command. So actually there is nothing to be updated because we just installed it a couple of days ago, and it is the latest version. Everything is at the latest version of WordPress. Now we'll see how to build a Nextcloud site with Docker Compose. Let's create a directory for Nextcloud and C3 because we already have two other Nextcloud sites installed in this VPS. And we need to create a file compose.yaml, a configuration file compose.yaml. But let's download it from this URL. And we are going to have a look at this configuration file, but also we need another configuration file for Nginx. So let's download this one as well. Now let's have a look at this configuration file. Here we define the services or the containers that will be started by this project. Again, we need a database service or container, but this time we are using Postgres as a database. And we are using Postgres Alpine, which is based on Alpine system, which is a minimal system that is used frequently for Docker images and for Docker containers, because the base system is very small. And then restart, unlist, stopped. We define the volumes here. The volumes are the directories that are shared between the host system and the container. Actually, volumes can also be managed by Docker Compose and by Docker, but I prefer to share a directory from the local from the local host to the container. So in this case, we are sharing this directory db, which is under the current directory. It is a subdirectory into the current directory, to this directory inside the container var lib PostgreSQL data. And this will store the data. The data of the Postgres databases will be stored in this directory. And because it is mounted to a directory on the host, this data will be persistent. If we delete the container, the Docker container, the data will remain because they are stored on a host directory. And this image requires also these environment variables: Postgres database, the name of the Postgres database, Postgres user, Postgres password. And we are using these variables, db name, db underscore user, db underscore password, and this should be defined somewhere. This should be defined in a file .env. So we also need to create a .env file. So let's create this .env file now. And next we have this Redis container. The image that is being used is Redis Alpine again. And then we have another container or another service that is named app. And this is for the Nextcloud application. And the image that we use for this service is Nextcloud FPM Alpine. This is one of the flavors of this, or this is the tag of the image. Then we are sharing this directory in the local host www to this directory inside the container, and this contains the in this directory are located the application files of Nextcloud, and also the data of the users, the files that the users upload to Nextcloud. And this image also requires these environment variables so that it knows to which database to connect and how to connect with what username and password. So this contains the database connection parameters. These are used to connect to the database. And also it is using Redis for caching and other things. So it also needs this Redis host setting or environment variable. And this Redis is the name of the service here, which can be used inside this container to access this other container. So this is like the host name of this container also. It serves also as the host name for that container. And we have this section depends on, and this DB is the service that we saw before, and Redis is the service here above. So it depends on Redis and the database DB. It means that when Docker Compose is starting this project, it will start first this service, and after these two are running, it is going to start this service. So it creates these dependency connections or prerequisites. And then we also have an Nginx service, which is using this image, Nginx Alpine. It is based on this image. And why do we need a separate Nginx container or service? Because the image that we are using here for Nextcloud is Nextcloud FPM Alpine. And this FPM is PHP FPM. It is a PHP service, PHP running as a service. And so it does not have a web server inside. It does not have Apache or Nginx inside. It is just running FPM PHP as a service inside. And this Nginx container is connecting to this FPM PHP, which is inside this container. And this Nginx is listening to the port 8088 here on the local host. So it is listening to the port 8088 and it is forwarding it to the port 80 inside the container. And here is the configuration file that we downloaded, nginx.conf. It is being used inside the container into this location. So it is mounted inside the container into this file, etc nginx nginx.conf. So we are providing the configuration of nginx from outside the container, from the host. And also the web root is on this directory. So the directory www in the host is being shared with the directory var www html inside the container. And actually this is the same directory that we shared here. So both these two services, Nextcloud FPM Alpine and Nginx, are using the same directory. So they share the same directory, which is the directory of the application files. And this service depends on app because it is connecting to the FPM service inside the other container. So the container app is a dependency for this one. Now let's have a look at this configuration file, nginx.conf. So this is a long configuration file. Actually, I just downloaded it from the documentation of Nginx. We don't have to understand all the details in this configuration file. It is the recommended configuration for Nginx. But we can see, for example, that it is listening to the port 9000. No, it is not listening to the port 9000, but it is forwarding the request, so upstream. Okay, let's look a little bit down further. So it is listening on the port 80, which is the normal HTTP port. And the document root is this directory /var/www/html, which is actually shared with the directory www in the host. And here we have this fast CGI path PHP handler. PHP handler is defined above at the top of this configuration file. It is this one, upstream PHP handler. So it is forwarding requests to this PHP handler, and this PHP handler is this app, which is the host name of the other container, of the Nextcloud container, and the port 9000 is the port of the PHP FPM. So actually, it is forwarding the HTTP requests are being forwarded to the Nextcloud. So we can start the container now. We can start the project. And it is pulling the images because they are not available in the local host. This image, Postgre Alpine, Redis Alpine, and so on. And the other two images. And after downloading the images, it is creating this network, NC3 default, and then it is starting these containers, which are connected to the default network. These four containers. And while starting the containers, it has also created these directories, which are shared with these containers. This is the... Why? It is empty. This command, docker compose ls, is listing all the docker compose projects. This is the WordPress project, and it is running 3 services. This is the current one, and it is running 4 services. And this is the configuration file for each project. So for the current project that we are right now here, this is the configuration file that is used. The command ps is showing all the containers of the current project, Docker Compose project. And we see the app service, which is running, and it is listening to the port 9000 TCP. And the database service or container So this is the name of the container. This is the image of the container, and this is the name of the service as defined in compose.yaml, and this is the port that is being shared by this container. It is listening to this port. It is the Postgres port. And the service nginx is listening to the port 8088 on the local host, which is being forwarded to the port 80 inside the container. And also this Redis. But I see that the database is empty. Why? I see the database system is ready to accept connections. There is something wrong because we should see some data into this directory. Yes, into this directory. So let's see what's going on. We can log in to the container, to this container, and check this directory. Docker compose exec db. Let's try with bash. Okay, we get a shell inside the database container. This directory is empty. Why? And this is empty. Maybe I should look inside this. And then Docker. I think this is the directory that should be shared with the host. This one is wrong. Maybe it was an old configuration, an old version which was used in an old version of Postgres, but the latest version of Postgres is using this, of the Postgres image is using this directory for storing the database data. So let's use this one. Docker compose down, stop the current services, and then edit the file compose.yaml, and then modify the directory that is shared by oops. And let me start the project again. Okay, now we have the data of the databases into this directory. Now we can try to open the site the domain on the browser. But actually, we have not defined a reverse proxy configuration yet. So we first need to define a reverse proxy configuration for this site. So we go to the nginx configuration directory. And let's make a copy of this configuration. And modify it. The modification is that we replace NC2 with NC3. The domain name here, and the certification files, the path of the certification files, the path of the log files, and also the port, because now this container is listening to the port 8088. The configuration is here. So we are missing the SSL certificate file. So let's get a certificate for this domain. The domain that we are requesting a certificate for is nc3.user1.fs.al, and the owner of this domain has the email address The certificate that we received is this one here for the domain nc3. So now we can reload the configuration files of nginx. And we can open the domain in browser. So it has detected some configuration files, and it is requesting just an administration username and password. this is okay. Database Postgres, yes, it has detected these configurations from the environment variables that we supplied to the Docker container, and it is filling them automatically. We just need to press the button install. Save. Recommended apps. Okay, install recommended apps. Installation is finished. So let's go as usual to administration settings. We see that we are using the version 33 of Nextcloud. And there are a few things that need to be fixed here. One of the things that needs to be fixed is that we should create a cron job that runs the file cron.php every 5 minutes. So let's do this first. And we will create a bash script into this directory var compose nc3. So this script just has one command, but it is a long command, so it makes sense to include it in a script. So it is docker compose, and we are specifying the project of this docker compose command. So we can also do it like this: cd, go to this directory first, and then run the docker compose command below. But another way is to specify the directory with this option, project directory, and this one. So this Docker Compose project, this Docker Compose command is being executed into this directory. It is for the project that is located in this directory. And this is Docker Compose exec. We are executing something inside the container, the Docker container. And this is being executed as user www data into the container of the app service, which is the Nextcloud container. And the command that is being executed is php cron.php. So this just runs this cron.php command, this script. So let's try it from the command line first. And the first time that cron command is being executed, it may take some time because there are some things to be done. If we try it a second time, then maybe it will be faster because there is nothing in the list to be done. Let me try it a second time. This time it is fast. Now this has to be executed, this script cron.sh has to be executed every 5 minutes automatically, and we can do this with the cron job. Cron tab, edit. We are editing the cron tab, and let's create a cron job here. This is the cron job for the other Nextcloud site, for the NC2. We are creating another cron job for this one, for NC3. And it will be very similar because it needs to be executed every 5 minutes. And then every 5 minutes we are going to run this script, var compose nc3. So this is the script that we created into the directory var compose nc3. So every 5 minutes we are going to execute this script. Save, and we are done. And now if we go to the basic settings and refresh, we see that the cron, the background jobs are being executed from cron. So this is fine. This is fixed. And in order to fix the other things here, some of these things, we need to run the command occ inside the. We need to run this command inside the Nextcloud container, and we can create a script for running this command inside the container. So we can run this command with docker compose exec into the container of the service app, and the command that will be executed will be php occ. But we need to execute this command as user www data. So if we look inside this directory, we see this occ command, and this is the command that we are running with this. So it is a PHP script or a PHP file, so we are running PHP OCC as user www.data. And we are running this command inside the container app. But when we execute something inside the container, inside this container, the working directory is this one. So we don't need to specify the path of OCC. It is just in the current working directory. Because this is how this Docker Compose is built. So the working directory is the directory of application files, of Nextcloud application files. And let's create a script for running OCC. So again, we are running a Docker Compose command. It is Docker Compose exec, but we are running it into the project located into this directory, var compose nc3. And the command is being executed as user www.data. The command is being executed into the container of the service app. The command that is being executed is PHP OCC, and then here we are appending all the arguments of this script. So all the arguments of this script are being passed as arguments of this command. So let me try OCC. And let's say, for example, user list. And it is listing all the users, but currently there is only one user, admin. So with this script, we can run any OCC command inside the Nextcloud container. Now let us run some configuration commands here with this script. So config system set override protocol HTTPS default phone region value AL. This is for Albania. It can be IT or DE or something else for another country. Maintenance Windows start value 1 type integer. And then run this command also. Maintenance repair include expensive database add missing indices. So these commands are fixing some of the issues that are reported on this page. Some setup warnings. So let's run this command. And let's refresh this page. And I think that some of these, or most of them, are fixed already. There are some other things that can be fixed, but that's okay for now. This is okay. So the next thing is to see how to maintain this website, how to make a backup, restore, update, and so on. But let's do this next time.